Hello and welcome back to TNN's coverage of the world's 9 best fantasy football players league. I'm your host, and this is what we have for you this week. Week 8 saw the eliminated teams in the survivor pool competing for one spot back. After being the highest scoring team in Week 8, Slob emerged victorious and now is back in the survivor pool. To see how they were responding to the great news, TNN reached out for comment. And now, here's Danny Football with his picks for Week 9. Hey, what's up, guys? The world's 9 best fantasy football players expert, Danny Football here, back with another week of expert predictions. Last week, pretty good for me, going 5-1, bringing my total on the year up to a very nice 30-18. My guest, Grayson, also had a pretty solid week, going 5-1, but unfortunately not good enough to beat the expert because, as we all know, the tie goes to the expert. But now, it's a new week, there's a new guest, and a new chance to beat the expert. So, guest, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, Brett here, owner of the Mental Brick Walls. I don't think we can claim to be the most historic franchise, but I hope that we are up there as one of the few that refuses
Everyone's
to change
claiming it
their
these
name.
days. You might as well stake your own claim.
I think that anyone who has changed their name since the inception of the league cannot stake their claim to that. So I would like to throw that out there. But there are some others that have stayed by their team names, so I respect that. Excited to be here, excited to make some picks, and hopefully we could replicate that magical 6-0 pick performance.
I was
I
going to
believe that
say
was
you
last fall, correct?
got a big reputation to live up to. One of only two 6-0 picking weeks in league history. So
And the first, but I do think that I was terrible then on my return in the playoffs
the
last
playoffs,
year, if I
yeah,
recall.
I do not think you beat the expert. Actually, you know what? I'll have my editors pull it up real quick. 2-2 in the playoffs, so not
Okay,
terrible, not
that's
terrible, not
okay.
great.
That's okay.
All right, first up, we have Ham and Throw taking on undefeated, never lost. Ham and Throw favored at 55%. I feel like lately I've been talking a lot about matchups that make my head hurt and games that I just absolutely do not want to watch, and this is certainly one of them. As we all know, not even just loyal fans of the show, every single person who has ever watched the show knows that I hate Ham and Throw. I am going to absolutely love watching them roll Mac Jones out there in their starting lineup this week, watching Ham and Throw go down with the Patriots ship. However, undefeated never lost is likely going to be rolling Tyson Bagent out there at QB, and they have some of their big players like ETN, Ayuk, and Jerry Jeudy all on a bye. The undefeated never lost team already has a really tough time winning. I think it's going to be even harder this week. I hope, Mike Visconti, I hope you're watching. I hope you're listening, because it's the only time you're going to hear it all season. I'm going to go with Ham and Throw this time.
I think that's a good pick. I am very, very excited for Mac Jones to play well this Sunday after Washington traded away their entire defensive line and
Yeah.
Visconti to buy all the way back in. I think that's going to be great. Undefeated never lost. I will say that they are a very historic franchise. You have to respect it. But every single fall, we get together and we discuss matchups for a specific week. And I have no idea what they're trying to do. And it every year, it's the exact
Yeah.
same thing. I kind of envision that the entire front office is kind of looking at Miguel, like the meme of Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny, and like the board and all the strings going. And I feel like that's how they propose trades and make moves. I didn't realize that he's gonna have to start Tyson Bagent this week.
Yeah.
That's gonna be something interesting. I'm actually, if this was their teams playing at full health, would not be an interesting matchup to me. But looking at what the two of them have to roll out there, I actually think this is kind of going to be so bad that it's good to watch. So looking forward to this one.
Well, what's your pick in this one?
Ham and Throw.
Okay.
I got hand and throw as well.
All right, next up, we have the Coochie Gang taking on Team Big Chungus 22. Coochie Gang favored at 53%. Brett, who do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, I think that a theme of my picks that you're going to see this week is that the vaunted Big Four division that was off to such a strong start. I think there's a water always finds its level component, both from a positive and negative regression standpoint. So based upon that alone, I don't think Big Chungus is a playoff team. Unfortunately, as much as I love seeing the Chungai succeed, I think Tom's had a little bit of hard luck in the Coogee gang at 2-6, and I think they bounce back with a win this week.
Yeah, I agree with that pick. Big Chungus, a team I've been low on this year. I struggle to see them as a playoff team, but there's also a lot of teams in this league that I struggle to see as playoff teams. Six got to make it in. I think like maybe 3 to 4 of those spots are probably locked up already, and then it's kind of just a free for all for the last couple. These are two teams I thought were going surprisingly in different directions. Big Chungus, pretty good. Coochie Gang, not so good start. Koo lost their third in a row and are now 3 games back in the playoff hunt. I'm sure it's a very frustrating game for both them and Devonte Adams, and I think a trade could be in the best interest of both parties here. This is a team, you know, across the board for Tom. I think they've really taken a step back from last year. A lot of their guys just not panning out, and I think it may be time to look towards the future. For the Chung guy, this is a team I've been consistently low on, but somehow they just keep going out there and surprising, getting some scrappy wins. They picked up a big one last week against the Judon Noodles, although I do have to point out it was the luckiest win you could possibly get, considering they were the second lowest scorer in the league last week. For this team, the Chungai, it does not have to be pretty, but they just keep getting it done, and I'm going to go with the Chungai pick up the win here. Next up, we have Slob taking on the SWAT team. SWAT currently favored here at 71%. Slob's got a bit of a nice winning streak going on, keeping their season alive. They were the highest scorers last week, earned their way back into the Survivor competition. So, congratulations is in order for Slob. This is a team that has really shown up when their back is up against the wall. They got a real nice performance out of Jameer Gibbs last week, but he's going to be on a bye. So they're going to have to, figure out someone else off of their very shallow bench that they're going to have to plug in and see if they can score some points. For SWAT, they are also coming into this one on a 2-game win streak. They put up over 230 last week. Good showing out of them. And only 15 total points came out of the combined duo of Nick Bosa and TJ Watt. Something that should definitely scare the rest of the league. If this team's clicking and those two dudes are not even out there at their best, this could be an interesting team to watch moving forward. And I'm going to give them the edge in this one.
I have to agree. I'm going to pick the SWAT team as well. They kind of have a like prime Patriots thing going on, where even if we're off to a slow start early in the season, when those leaves start to change, the SWAT team is going to come. And in my opinion, they're one of the 3 teams that can ultimately win the league with the Judon Noodles and the Bandits as the other 2. So I got to take the SWAT team this week, and also as a little bit of a bonus prediction, I do have a bit of a fear with the bye issues that Slobber Dobbs has this week, that they might see the same fate as a lot of people from the show Survivor that return from Extinction Island, and that they might just be voted right back out after a low scoring week this week.
Yeah, it's unfortunate turn of events for Nuge. Poor timing with coming back into the Survivor pool. Next up, we have Blood, Sweat, and Beers taking on the Mental Brick Walls. Blood, Sweat, and Beers currently favored at 69%. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to go back to what I said that I feel like all of the big four need to just flop their records around because that division is the ultimate mid off. The brick walls have a bunch of buys this week.
Yeah.
And while I was laughing at the Tyson Bagent and Mac Jones starting quarterbacks, the brick walls we'll see Zach Wilson take the field for them this week. So don't feel good about the brick walls. Don't really feel good about the future. Have a lot of defensive issues. Will probably be picking out of the 11 or the 12 spot in the first round as well, as Timmy is eligible for a pick swap this year due to the division draft from over the summer. So I like Blood, Sweat, and Beers to get on the board here this week, and I think that they'd be a team that you wouldn't really want to play against in the first round of the playoffs if they make it there either.
Interesting. The rare picking against the own team. I think that we have to call that the Brett special here on the show. I think you're one of I think maybe two owners who's picked against their own team.
I just call it like I see it. I don't know
You
if I've
know,
ever picked my team on this show. Maybe
uh
maybe the first year.
maybe I'll have the producers go and check the data on that one. We've got data going all the way back to the start of the league here at TNN.
Okay.
I do have to say, I think you might have gotten a sneak peek at my notes for this matchup. A lot of the same points. I also noted Zach Wilson, mid off, blood, sweat, and beers could be scary if they make the playoffs. There's really not too much left to say that hasn't been said. Blood, sweat, and beers. Look, I'm sure they were very happy to get the loss last week. I think the brick walls are not going to make it too easy for them this week. I got to say, Jacob's efforts aren't going to be enough this week. I think I'm picking Blood, Sweat, and Beers to get the victory, no matter how much Jacob may or may not want it. Moving on, we have JK. We're still Mahorny taking on the Texarkana Bandits. JK narrowly favored in this one at 51%. Bandits, they picked up a nice win last week in the marquee matchup, making easy work of the brick walls. Fans of the show will know that I'm high on the Bandits, but there is something this week that's giving me cause for concern. Trayvon Walker is on a bye, and obviously he wanted to go into the bye on the right foot. Had a very nice 12-point game last week, but obviously going to be a huge hit for the starting lineup not having him there. And that may open up an opportunity for JK, who's been actually looking pretty nice lately. They had Brees and Kayvon Thibodeau were basically the only two bright spots in that just atrocious Jets-Giants game last week. Joe really needs a win to keep the momentum going, and I think this one might be pretty close, but I think it's going to be hard to stop the momentum of the train. I'm going to go with the Bandits to pick up the win here.
I think that's really good analysis there. As much as I was saying that I think water needs to find its level, and I do like Mahorny to make a run at some point. Two concerns that I have. The first is that they feature a lot of players from both the Chiefs and the Dolphins, and I don't know what to expect out of that game in Germany on Sunday morning. So I think that the game last year in Germany was a little bit higher scoring with the Bucks, but those international games they don't really feel like a fantasy feasting from any players.
Yeah.
And the second reason is that I just can't step in front of the Bandits. The Bandits are a wagon. Give us the train effect one more time, editor. I like the Bandits this week.
Finally, we have our marquee matchup of the week. Team M. Vanek taking on the Judon Noodles. Noodles currently favored at 57%. Who do you like here?
Well, I'm going to completely cross myself up here because the Noodles face a lot of the same problems that Mahorny does in terms of that Chiefs Dolphins game. But I think that Team Vanek very, very similar to Big Chungus over in the Big Four. I don't know if this is probably has never happened because we're now in the three divisions. if it is mathematically possible, I think that every single team in the Big Four is going to finish at 500, which would be just such a great ode to the Big Ten West.
That would be
So
fun.
I've got the Noodles winning this one. I actually tried to look up what potential Week 17 matchups would look like for a Noodles versus Bandits championship game, and I was going to make a pick in that this week, but was not able to do that. But those I think are the top two teams, along with the SWAT team, and I'd be pretty stunned at this point if one of those three does not win a league.
Yeah, I look. Those have been the top teams all year. This matchup.
Well, the Brick Walls had a great start.
That's true.
Let's
That's
not say
true.
all year.
Yeah. I look, preseason contenders. Brick Walls were definitely in there. Maybe teetered off a little bit, but it's a long season. Always time to make a trade.
Yeah.
Always time to turn the season around. This matchup, the marquee matchup, because it is currently the only matchup this week between two teams that would make the playoffs. As shocking as that may be, considering this isn't the best matchup, but it is the marquee matchup nonetheless. The Judon Noodles, it had just a terrible game last week. One that I personally am very upset about because they cost me my first ever 6-0 week picking. They were not able to get it done against the Chung guy. They're also not going to be able to use Christian McCaffrey as much as a crutch for their team this week. Obviously, Niners on a bye. I've said before that the Noodles, this team has some glaring holes, especially on the defensive side of the ball, particularly at the defensive line spot. And I think the team on Vanek is going to be able to expose them this week. I really would love to see Team M Vanek go out there and pick up another offensive piece for their flex spot and really try to make a push this year. I think this team is good enough to make the playoffs, but I do not think that their depth is really up to snuff with the rest of the league right now. I think it would take some really insane luck, huge performances from guys at the end of the year. Not to mention, they just lost Kirk Cousins, who was a pretty good fantasy QB this year. Obviously, heart and soul, great locker room guy. Going to be interesting to see how Team M Vanek responds to that. Unfortunately, though, like I said, don't think Team M Vanek can hang with the best teams in this league. If he makes a trade, might be a different story, but I do not see any trades incoming before this weekend's matchup, and I'm going to go with the Judon Noodles to get it done in this one. Well, Brett, it's been great having you on the show. I'm wishing you all the best of luck with your picks. Of course, not as good as me, can't beat the expert, but it's been great to have you on. And who knows, maybe we'll see you back here for the playoffs.
That's my plan. Can't wait to be back.
And thank you, Danny Football and guest Brett, for those great picks. That's all we have for you this week. Be sure to tune in next week and see how things shook out. I'm your host, and this has been TNN.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell.